I appreciate everybody being here, and thank you to Pirate Nation for making Conway, painting that thing purple the other night. By the end of the game, you saw no-till, and it was all purple, and what a great sight. And our staff truly appreciates that, and so do our players. I know just they feed off that energy, and it's a big deal to them. So I can't wait to see that, packed out in Dowdy Ficklen this Saturday night, 7:30, and we talk about playing big games and meaningful games, and we certainly got one this week, a Big 12 opponent, P4 opponent, and ESPN2, national TV, and what that means to not only our football program, not only our university, but all of East North Carolina and Greenville. So it's going to be a big night for that. And our energy as a football team starts with our fans and especially our students. They did a great job with that last home game, and I expect no less this home game of packing that thing out and making a difference in there. So it'll be a great night of football, and starts with the Pirate Walk. I'd like to invite everybody out to that. I think around 5:15, 5:20. We'll start out here just outside the stadium and kind of finish through that new green space we talked about where Scales Fieldhouse used to be, and get the big TV set up in there. So it should be a great way to start off the evening for a great night of football. But kind of going back to Coastal and reflecting on that, first of all, thank you to the police officers and the police escort out of town here, just helping us maneuver some red lights and get out of town. It's always fun to sit in front of the bus and just watch those guys work and kind of get us through the lights there. So appreciate them doing that. But, I thought our guys did a really good job with their effort, and that's kind of what I'm most proud of, is I think we play harder and harder and harder each and every week, and I think we're getting better every single week. So just those guys keep going at it. At halftime, we just talked about a few things that we'd missed on in the first half, and they kept trusting the process. They kept just bringing it. We talked about early on in pregame about the storm, and how our hotel was on the beach. And you're looking out at the ocean, and you're seeing those waves come in, wave after wave. And we talked about what the waves look like in the storm and how they're relentless and how they keep bringing it. And we challenged our guys to bring it in a football game, just wave after wave, and keep bringing the storm. And I thought they did. They stuck to the plan. In the second half, that paid off. Wore Coastal down and had a big fourth quarter there as well. And so, our offense rushed for over 200 yards and just kept going at that thing and kept pecking away and finally broke through there in the fourth quarter and put up some good rushing yards. That was good to see. Anthony Smith had a big night. Most of those yards, he caught the football, were yards after catch. Had a big night for that, just catching little screen passes, little short throws. Really good perimeter blocking. Thought those guys did a really good job blocking on the perimeter, whether it was Yannick Smith, Quest Petaway, several other guys out there doing some good things. So defensively, I thought we did some things well on paper. We're getting better. And each and every week, I continues to take a next step. Jamarly Riddle made a big play down there in the red zone, picking the ball off. Rasheed Reason had a pick as well. It was nice to see him coming back. Rasheed had missed some time last week, had a family situation that he had to attend to. And, always tell those guys, like, hey, the family is the most important thing. We're obviously family here, our football family, but you also got to take care of things at home. So it's nice to see him there in the second half, being able to play some meaningful snaps. And I thought up front, defensive line-wise, we did a good job with JR and JD. Josiah Robinson got his first start for us and played really well. JD was solid inside, and then Kendrick DeJour and Kieran Davis also made some plays up front as well. So in the special teams game, I think Kyler Pearson, continues to be fun to watch, and we got to do a better job, overall on special teams, especially with our penalties. We only had 6 penalties in the other night. 3 of them on special teams, 1 of them for the kick out of bounds, and then 2 on the punt return team. And Kyler's doing a great job catching the football, winning the hidden yardage there, but also getting 10, 12 yards, getting us a first down. I told our punt return team this morning when we met, said, hey, we will be, Kyler will have a chance to be all conference or maybe more if we'll continue to play smart. I think we're playing hard. We have great effort. We just got to play smarter on that team. And I said, that's not just an accolade for Kyler. That's an accolade for that whole unit. So we got to take pride in that. On the block field goal down there that we got stepped on, the wing trip, got stepped on there and didn't get out to the edge, protect that, and just had a miscue there. So we got to be better in that area. And I talked to our team about that this morning. Like, we have a chance with our depth, with our athleticism to be good on those units. We got to continue to improve and get moving on those units there. So BYU, Good football team. They were 11-2 last year. Kalani Satake, Coach Satake is in his 10th season there and done a really excellent job. I think they visited ECU one time back in 2017. We've been out there twice through the years. So they started out 2-0. They beat Portland State week 1. And then week 2, they beat Stanford. And then both home games for those guys. So this will be their first road trip. Last week, they had the week off. So they've kind of had an extra week to prepare for us. In some ways, you may say as a football program, you enjoy having a bye week before you play. I kind of enjoy hey, we're getting better and better every week. And I think, with the game, helped us out a little bit. They're returning 9 starters on offense. I think they're averaging about 48 points a game offensively right now. The big thing that stands out is how they're running the football. Obviously, you think of big BYU. You look at their football team, turn on the tape. They're big, they're athletic, they run well, they're physical, they're a hard-nosed football team, and they do that with running the football. I think they're averaging over 300 yards in the run game, and that starts out their running back, L.J. Martin, number 4. And then their offense is also led by the quarterback. Quarterback's got a unique number. He's number 47. You usually don't see that in a traditional offense. He's more, he might remind you of somewhat of the Army quarterback last year because he's going to be used a lot in the run game. He started out his career last spring. He's a true freshman. He was at Stanford. Him and his brother both. He's Bear Bachmeyer. His brother is Tiger, who plays receiver for him. But Bear will be, his first game on the road as a true freshman. So definitely the fans can have a big part of, making it tough on him for the entirety of the game. Also on the offense, they got Chase Roberts, number 2. I believe he was a receiver when we played out there a couple years ago. He's their deep ball, kind of throw the ball up to him type guy. JoJo Phillips is another speedster out there. And another guy that kind of catches my eye was a former high school quarterback, Parker Kingston, number 11. He's a lefty quarterback, left-handed kid that tried to throw a double pass, I believe, in the Stanford game. Defensively, they're mostly an odd team, 3 down. They'll get a little bit of 4 down. They've only given up 3 points in 2 football games. Haven't given up a touchdown yet. I think they're only giving up a little over 100 yards a game. And I think they've only given up 3 third downs on the year, the 3 of 26. So been doing a pretty good job there. Their linebackers, kind of the guys that stand out to me. Number 17, Jack Kelly. He's a transfer from Weber State. That's where Jay Hill, who was the head coach at Weber State, came over. Now is the defensive coordinator at BYU. So it's the same offensive coordinator when we were out there in 22. It's a new defensive coordinator. And then the other linebacker, Isaiah Glasker, number 16, is pretty athletic. So those are kind of the guys that stand out for me. But all in all, excited about the night. Excited, not only for our football team, our football program, our players, but all Pirate Nation, and excited to make this place what it truly is, a place where football matters and a fan base that can make a difference in the game. We always talk about it takes everybody, and this week it certainly will be, from the preparation all week long within our football program, around the building, those things, and then certainly for a Saturday night as we make this thing a true rowdy and dowdy experience for the visiting team. At this time, we'll take it open up for questions.
How do you find the balance of, obviously it is a big game, but at the end of the day, it is football, it comes up execution.
Yep.
Is there a balance between using your emotion and not overhyping it?
Yeah, it's a big football game. It's a Big 12 opponent, Power 4 opponent. Opponent that's been ranked in the top 25. They probably fell out of it this past week just because they didn't play. If they play, they're probably still in the top 25. In my opinion, they still are a top 25 football team. But the focus really comes down to us. We talked about that in the team meeting this morning. Is hey, it's about what we do, our execution, how we prepare, and how we go play the game. It's a lot of factors are playing in, yeah, we're underdogs, but there's a lot of factors in my mind that plays in our court and plays in our hand. But we just got to go prepare, and those things will help us. And the fact you've played in a big ball game already early in the season, game 1 on the road, in a different environment there, I think it helps you prepare you for this game as well.
I know you kind of mentioned you never had to prepare for number 47, a quarterback.
Yeah.
Before, but when it comes to Bachmeyer, what he kind of adds, multiple aspects of being a running quarterback, what more specifically do you see from him in their offense?
Yeah, he's a guy you're gonna have the +1 runs, and you got different aspects of that. And they've always done that, even going back to when we played out there several years ago. But he's kind of more involved. He's a bigger kid. I mean, he's 215, 20 pounds. Looks more like the Army quarterback from last year than maybe a traditional quarterback, a guy that's bigger, can run the football. Doesn't really look like a freshman out there in the first 2 games. Now, it hasn't been a lot of stress, and, everything's been smooth and easy going for him. But he's looked really well and throws the ball really well, too. So he certainly creates some challenges, but at the same time, we got to make sure we make him be a quarterback. We stop the run first, put him behind the sticks, make him throw the football, make him sit back there and they protect it, and make him make full field reads down the field. And our crowd can certainly be a factor there as well. They're going to huddle. They're going to take their time. They're going to run the play clock down, so they're going to try to eat up the clock. I think their time possession is almost double their opponent right now, and some of that success they've had on offensively and defensively, and some of it's just the way the style of offense they run is. So, it'll be a unique challenge for us.
After 3 points to Campbell, you said afterwards you weren't satisfied defensively, kind of jokingly, but I'm serious. When you watched the film this week, does that satisfy you?
I don't think you're ever satisfied. And that's just being honest as a coach. Like, you look at the corrections, no matter how good or how bad you play, and what can we get fixed, how can we be better. And I think it's our whole football team. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that if they win 38-0, they're going to be satisfied and they're going to be happy and they're okay with it. Our football team, our players, and everybody in our program, you have that outcome. They know they left a lot out there on both sides of the football, and they know that, hey, we can be better. And I told the guys this morning, if that's the case and you feel that way, that we can be a pretty good football team if we will keep working, if we will do the little things, if we'll pay attention to detail, if we'll keep team first and not let everything else creep in. We call that, some people call that rat poison or whatever. You got to be guarded against it, and you got to focus on, hey, what's in front of you, and yourself, and how much better you can be each and every day. So there's room for improvement. Yeah, obviously the outcome was the outcome, but we still got to continue to get better.
Every team has its own personality. What makes this team's personality with creating turnovers? Did you see that in the preseason? I know you said you stressed it in the preseason, but this team is creating turnovers.
Yeah, fortunately and unfortunately, I did not see that in the preseason. Some of that was due to our offense doing a good job taking care of the football, in which they continued. I know we had one the other night that slipped away from us, but you're talking about 1 in 3 games. You'll take that. If we can go 3 more games and only have 1, you feel pretty good about it. And then on the other side of the ball, I think it's just about the effort. If you're going to play hard, you're going to fly around, you're going to play relentless, get 11 hands to the football, good things are going to happen. And so it's a number of guys. It's not just, hey, the starters. It's, 2 deep and beyond that are really buying into that and doing a good job in all phases.
Second half of the game felt like the run game offensively really started to kind of materialize for you guys. First game, I think you averaged, you guys averaged 4 yards at least in this game. What do you kind of see on film in the second half of the run?
Yeah, first of all, I think that Coastal defense is a pretty good defense. I think you look up at the end of the season and realize that's one of the better defenses we probably play. I think Jeremiah does a really good job down there, and they're big and athletic and have good size to them. So, being able to run the football against them, especially in the second half, when you got the lead and they know you're going to run the football, it's pretty key. It's not a situation where it's early in the game and you're trying to bust a run up in there, slip a run when they may think it's a pass situation. You're earning hard yards when the defense knows you're going to run the football, when their defensive coordinator is making run calls, when you have the lead and you're trying to just control the game, control the clock. So being able to do that and move some guys around shows you we're making progress. We still got a ways to go, but we are making progress. And I think if we can do that each and every week, we'll be heading in the right direction.
Campbell threw too many screen passes for you guys to even rush the quarterback. How this week you saw more traditional when you got 5 sacks for 20 quarterback pressures. How do you feel like the defense played up front in the passing game?
I think, the best thing they did was stop the run early, and they got them behind the sticks. And then hey, they just try to run a stretch play or a zone play in there, and you stuff it, and now you got them behind the sticks, and they can't really throw another screen and run the football. They'd be in third and extra long, or, it's an uncomfortable situation. So they got to kind of get, part of that back and put them in a manageable situation. So that was when, Coach Alder did a great job just going to our third down selection and making some calls there, and the kids did a great job executing and playing their tails off and got some guys free up front. So, and to add on to that, BYU, They'll be similar as far as they're going to put Bear in some similar screen situations of easy throws, getting the ball out to those wideouts. They're pretty athletic. They do a great job blocking on the perimeter, and trying to make them let them make easy throws and make plays on the perimeter and getting it out of the box. But I think it really comes down to, again, like, can we stop the run and put him in uncomfortable situations and make him be a quarterback and make him have the third and long. So that'll be the key to it.
Aside from crowd noise defensively, is there anything you can do to try to confuse a freshman quarterback in his first row start?
No doubt. I mean, the first thing I think is just stop the run. So you put him in a situation where he has to be a quarterback. The crowd noise would be huge. And again, they've had 2 home games. So when they're on offense, it's been pretty quiet for him. Now it's all of a sudden he's on the road. He's across the country. I think he's originally from maybe California. So he's coming to the East Coast maybe for the first time. So let's make sure we give him a warm welcome. And then defensively, we got to disguise some looks, give him some different things in there. I think right now he's more locked in on a certain receiver and how they do things and getting those guys open on the deep sell routes and deep benders. So we got to make sure we take those first reads away and make him get to a second or third guy, and that'll also give us a chance up front to get home.
So what was the explanation when you guys obviously sold out on the 4th down? I know they have to hold it for them.
Yeah.
Is there a line
So-
for how long it was?
Yeah, so I probably spilled too much on here, but we call that play bozo, and it's an opportunity. And I think you saw it last year in the playoffs with Georgia and Notre Dame. Same exact setup. They just used a timeout. We had our offense out there on 4th down. We're going to go for it. They just used a timeout, so now they can't call back-to-back timeouts. So we send their punt team out there. They match the personnel with their punt return unit. And I talked to the head of officials in our conference, and I got a call set up with him today. I talked to him in the preseason about this situation arising. He said, as long as you do it before 18 seconds, you substitute. The defense should have time to match personnel. We should back off the ball, and you have plenty of time to snap the football. Preston made the call. They come running off at 23 seconds. We get the offense out there pretty quick. They were a little slow matching the personnel. I was a little upset about it, probably. I let it bother me probably longer than it should, but it's an opportunity for us to keep a drive going early in the game, and an opportunity for us to keep moving the football and take momentum early in the game. And just thought, we didn't get the opportunity to do that, so we just want to make sure I communicate with him and make sure we got that coached up. So if it comes up again in the season, that we'll execute it at a high level, and hopefully the officials will too.
Coach, JD was playing inside and outside of the tackle and defense. Just how versatile is he for your defense going in?
Yeah, J.D. Lampley started his career out inside and has changed his body up over the years a little bit. He's been more effective on the edge. Got an injury inside right now, so kicking him inside. And J.D.'s going to play with a motor. He's going to play with power and got great hands, and some angle movement stuff we do in there helps as well. But just, really proud of him, just putting the team first, not worried about if he's inside or outside, and continue to go at it. And he's disruptive, whether he's on the edge and inside. And I think that's the key, is just getting our best players on the field and our twitchiest and fastest players on the field. And, that was a move that allowed us to do that. Felt good about carrying him out there behind JR, and it gave us a little bit more depth inside last week, and we may continue to use some of that this week and next week as well.
Marlon Gunn only got one carry, I believe. Just what was the reason for that?
Marlon's so much more our football team than just a running back. Marlon's playing on special teams, kick return, punt return, and punt in certain situations. And Marlon's one of my favorite guys, and just always will be. And at some point this season, he's going to step up and make a big play with the ball in his hands. I'm positive in that and all those things. And I think, all those guys in our room, whether it's receivers, running backs, even the quarterback situation, there's all those guys, like at some point they know, hey, it's going to be my time to make a play for our football team. And, not that we don't believe in Marlon, but the other night it was Parker in London was kind of the hot hands and kind of went with those guys. And at some point it's going to be Marlon, and excited about when that time comes for him.
The secondary, how do you evaluate the secondary right now? I know we see a couple guys, especially in the corner position, coming in and out, but how do you evaluate that?
They're getting better. I mean, we still got a ways to go. I think, I can stand up here and I've talked about the corners and linebackers, but I think we're getting better. I think we're making moves in the right direction, and not just one guy. I think it's several guys. Tyler Brown, I think will be here in a few minutes. Is playing his best football of his career right now. He needs to continue to do that, and I think his best football is ahead of him. Rashid had a big play the other night. You seen Keith Crowell out there. He had a PI down the field, but he really probably should have picked the ball. He even said that this morning. He said, I just went and picked it, and he probably panicked a little bit down the field. Just needs to remain calm. But sometimes you got to be in those situations to gain that experience, and I certainly see him making those plays. And I think we have some freshmen out wide that are going to continue to kind of show up as the season goes. And I think at linebacker, same thing. Day-Day's done a good job in there. Sam's starting to learn the position. It's obviously a brand new position to him, so he's starting to come along as well.
Because I was just going to ask about Lacey and so on.
Yeah.
Did you hurt on the style?
Yeah, I guess he stays in for another play. It's actually Yannick's touchdowns, but got banged up the play before that. We should know something on that one next day or two. But DeJuan's like a ball of energy in there, and I think you see that when he's carrying the football. You can see a little spark to it. He just has a little juice to him, and he's one of my favorite plays every time. He's on the kick return, and he's the off return, really the blocking returner. And they kick one in the end zone touchback, whether it's the Campbell game or this past game. I see DeJuan celebrating I've never seen anybody celebrate a touchback before, but he's just so fired up to get the game going, get the ball in our hands and get going, be out there in the football field. And that's, he is a great example of what our football team is about. Just guys that love playing the game, love each other. We talked this morning a little bit about, love kind of makes a marriage, and then marriage kind of holds love together. Well, if you take a marriage and out and you put the word team in, love makes a team, and team keeps the love and all those things. And we talked about that, and I think DeJuan Lacey's a perfect example of that. But just praying for him, and kind of we'll find out a little bit more as the week goes on. Hopefully it's something he can come back from this season.
I guess kind of playing off of that, there's been a love from the fan base towards this team, whether it be in Raleigh, Conway, or here. I think there's only a few hundred tickets left for Saturday.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you kind of early on in your first full year to have this fan buy-in when it's close to a full sellout national TV game Saturday?
Without getting too emotional, it means everything. I mean, it really does. I think just the way the fan base and Pirate Nation has embraced our football team and our program since last October, really October 20th of last year, and rallied. And I told our players last week, we talked about September 11th and what that really meant for our country. And that day, how all of the country kind of came together and pulled in the same direction. And I said, it's really what our football team has done for this fan base. You've got everybody excited to be a part of Pirate Nation. And just the way Pirate Nation has showed out in Raleigh, showed out in Conway, showed out here a couple weeks ago for the Campbell game, and the way they're going to show out this Saturday night in Dowdy-Ficklin is pretty awesome, pretty special to be a part of. And just blessed, and our players feel the same way to be a part of it. None of us are in, it ain't about me or I. We're not in the center of attention, but it's about all of us pulling together for a common goal, and it's taking everybody to get it done. And we couldn't be more excited about Saturday night, not only to play BYU and play a football game, but just for our fan base, just for Greenville and all of Pirate Nation.